Hello, dear friends. Today we're going to talk with good friend of mine, entrepreneur and goal mapping expert, Steven Karbaron. Steven, hi again.
Hi, really good
Uh,
to see you, Pavel.
good to see you. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do right now, and how did you start doing this?
Okay, where do we start? So, a little bit about myself is always difficult because I'm 21 years old with 41 years experience of being 21. So that actually puts me at 62 in human life years. Uh, what do I do? What have I done? I suppose, as you said, being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, and having done this around the world internationally has brought me to where I am now. So I've been working in many different cultures. As you know, I worked for 11 years in Russia, which is where we met, had the good fortune to meet you and other wonderful, lovely people that I met in Russia. I was also started out in the UK as an optician. It's a family business. It's something my father and brother are both opticians. So we set up a family business. We had family business for a long time working together, which is where I learned many of my skills and knowledge of business. I then expanded into other areas. So I got involved in the club and music scene during the late 80s, early 90s. Which, as you know, I'm a DJ, so that's where my DJing came from, which has always been my sort of semi-professional hobby, but it's also meant that I've had an opportunity to meet and mingle and mix with lots of people, which is something that I love to do. And after that period, I got back into the optical world, and I covered many things in optics. So, I designed for Dolce & Gabbana. I had the privilege of being the first non-Italian to design a collection in the main Dolce & Gabbana brand. It was an eyewear collection. I worked with companies like Ray-Ban, Calvin Klein, and many other of the big optical brands, helping them with promotions and marketing their brands and launch some products in the UK. I was involved in many exercises like this, and through this I got headhunted to go to Russia and work as a director with the biggest retail optical company, which was a company called LensMaster, where I was part of the management team that took us from 12 stores when I arrived to 87 stores in the 6.5 years that I was there. We sold out to a big multinational. I then set up a joint venture with another big multinational eyewear production company, and we had distribution and sales in the first year of more than $1 million. We became very successful. I then took a sabbatical. I had a child. I decided I wanted him to grow up somewhere other than Moscow. I wanted him to be near the sea, as I'd always wanted to be. And we moved to Spain, to just outside of Barcelona, which is where I live now. Since leaving Russia, I took a slightly different journey, because through my personal development journey, which started in 1982, another long story, but through my personal development journey, I met many people, and I have always been on a journey for world peace and to embrace and help the world become a more peaceful place. Having a son made that more important to me, and in fact, a mutual friend of ours, Gil Petzel, introduced me to a guy at a Tony Robbins event, a guy called Michael Carlholm, and he introduced me to a lot of things like mindfulness, meditation. I got involved with ECAM in India, a big meditation center, and realized that actually, if we want peace in the world, we have to find peace in ourselves first.
Right.
So this is something where I've been working for a long time on this. Through that journey, I've discovered things like goal mapping, conscious capitalism, and all the areas that I'm now working in, which is to help businesses develop a more purpose-led, mindful approach to how they do business that becomes more ethical and sustainable for the world. So that sort of brings me up to date.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Steven. And I think more than a week ago, we had very nice conversation with you about some collaboration ideas, and I provide some seminars, workshops, on goal setting and personal efficiency. And you mentioned goal mapping. That's very interesting. We discussed that and we had very, very nice, valuable ideas together. Could you please tell us about goal mapping? What
Yes,
is that?
absolutely. So goal mapping, actually, the first goal map I ever did, I didn't know I was doing a goal map. Quite often we do this. We do something, we think it's great, and then later we find out what it was, and we then study it a bit further to understand what we were doing, or at least that's how I worked. So back in 2006, I just moved to Russia, but 2004 I went to my first Anthony Robbins event, and in 2006, because I signed up to go through Mastery University, I attended Date with Destiny. And at Date with Destiny, we did what was a goal map. I didn't know it was a goal map, but it was this map of the future, a 10-year goal, you know, putting pictures down and focusing on where I was going to be in 10 years time. And it was funny because, again, it was with Gil Petzl at a Tony Robbins event. We were discussing about my experiences of Tony Robbins. And I remember doing this goal map, and I realized that actually the goals that I set 10 years, almost to the day earlier, had all pretty well come true. They were very materialistic. I was quite materialistic at that time, but you know, they'd come true. I was now living in Spain, as I mentioned, by the sea. This was a dream of mine that I'd written in this goal map, you know, to be living with my family in a country by the sea, having a home by the sea, and all these different things. And it had come true. So I became very interested. Okay, what is this all about? What was that I did? And I then fairly soon after that met a guy called Brian Main, who was the inventor of goal mapping. And he took me under his wing. We became friends. We had a lot in common. He also DJs. He's also obviously into personal development. And he told me about goal mapping. And it turns out that this was something he was working on with Tony Robbins, or had introduced into the Tony Robbins circuit. And it had become part of what Tony Robbins was using, one of the tools that he was using. Brian was actually teaching it to the Platinum partners, and Tony was rolling it out to others through Date with Destiny as a way to help us achieve what we wanted within a period of time. So how does goal mapping work? What's so special about it?
Yeah.
As you know, you do goal setting. There's many goal setting tools out there. There's mind maps. There's all of these different things, which are great, because when we focus our mind, we get amazing results, because everything starts with a thought. Actually, you know, so if we think about something, if we create a thought in our minds, and we keep repeating that thought, and we keep repeating it, which is why we have so much repetition in goal setting, what happens is eventually it becomes an idea, it becomes a habit in our mind, then a belief. And when that habit belief becomes something like that, we say the mind starts making
I like the statement where the focus goes, energy flows.
Absolutely, this is a Tony Robbins statement, and it's absolutely true. You know, so when we can focus our mind on something, the mind starts creating, and not just creating, because a lot of actually, I believe everything's already there. We don't create anything; we just become aware of it. So within the universe, we have lots of stuff going past us that we don't notice. Millions and millions of messages all the time passing by, and we can only focus on certain ones. So when we choose what we focus on, we then start to see it, and then we can start creating actions around that make that happen. Why is goal mapping so powerful? And in my opinion, more powerful than most of the other goal setting systems that I've come across. There's several reasons. The first and most important one is it uses pictures and words. So it's getting our left brain and right brain, if you want to be that simplistic. I have been told by neuroscientists that actually it's not such a simple left brain, right brain. It's a bit mixed up, but just for those of us that are not neuroscientists who need a simpler explanation, we'll stick with the left brain for logic, for strategy, for calculating things. You know, that's what the left brain does. The right brain is more creative. It's the bigger picture. It sort of sees things in a slightly more fluffy, colorful way, and you know, puts emotions into it. So when you can bring these two together, we then get whole brain activity, and that whole brain activity obviously means that we've got more chance of those thoughts, and those will turn into ideas, will turn into beliefs, and eventually become the habits that we use to create the realities that we want. So having this system which combines the two is really, really powerful. The other benefits are it's online. This was set up before the whole pandemic situation that took us all online. I mean, everyone was, in 2019, we were all walking around quite happily, going to meetings, doing everything. And we were beginning to use things online. And actually, Brian had decided that due to health reasons, he needed to put his goal mapping system online because he couldn't travel so much anymore. So he had this system already online. So when I qualified in 2019 as a goal mapping coach, master coach, I was able to use the system online. And when we hit 2020, it was great because I was able to help people focus on how they could get out of the situation they were in, how they could achieve goals, even in this most difficult time, and actually start to see the bigger picture and see how they could get through. So it really focuses us on that. It uses 3 very powerful pieces you do everything in the personal. The reason we do it in the personal, of course, is we can't set goals for other people. We can maybe set goals to help people, but we can't control other people's lives. We always do it with positive affirmations, because when we focus on positive, we create a much better flow of information within the brain. We produce serotonin, and when we're in the negative, we produce cortisol, which freezes our brain. It takes into fight or flight mode, so we don't think properly. Whereas when we have serotonin, we actually boost the opportunity for the thought pattern to travel through the brain and build up stronger, basically stronger thought ideas and tracks. And then the third P is we have personal, we have positive, and we do it in the present. And the reason we do all our affirmations in the present is when we tell our brain we've achieved something, when we convince it that something's already happened, then it goes out to make it happen. Because as we said before, the brain doesn't like to be proven wrong. So if I really believe that I've achieved something, my brain will make sure I go out and achieve it. And we have this. I love the Henry Ford quote: "Whether we think we can, whether we think we can't, we're right."
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah. So we can use that for personal and professional entrepreneurial goals, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And also businesses can also use it as I'm using it with businesses to set their purpose, to share their purpose with others. So, a management team, or even just a team within a business, they can set up a goal map. And by doing this, they all have input into what their goals are. Then they all have it written down in a structure that they can start putting behind it. And they can then share it actually with other departments within the company, or with their clients, with their suppliers. And when people understand what your goals are, the amazing thing, most people will do their best to help you achieve them. Actually, it's a real fact that, your friends and people around you, that when they see that that's what you want to do, they buy into it, and they can help.
Right.
They'll come up and say, "You know what? I know someone who can help you do that." So if we use it in business and share it, we can achieve far more. And obviously the same goes for personal. People will help us achieve what we want to do.
Wow, that's wonderful, Steven. That's amazing. I like this subject very much. Goals and clarity is very important word in personal and professional development, and in life in general. Yeah, Steven, so you mentioned that there are a lot of online resources, and also we can do that just through writing, right? Just have a pen and paper or different colors and use that to write some words and images.
That's right. Yeah. So the system first started out as I said, offline. So and you can go onto the goal mapping site and you can print out templates. So you can still do it offline. You can still just print out the template, handwrite your affirmations, draw in your own pictures. If you're an artist, unfortunately, when I draw a picture, it tends to not remind me of what I thought it was. My pictures in my brain is one thing, on paper to be something quite different. But so I actually love the fact that I can go online and I can use pictures either that I have that are my own photographs or my own images that I have, or I can go online and find images that for me resonate and tie in with my affirmation and give me clarity about my affirmation.
Yeah.
And actually a great example of why the affirmation and the picture going together work. If I ask you and your audience to think of the word beach.
What kind of beach?
Well, just the word that, yeah, thinking of
Right.
beach,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Now you tell me, what are you thinking of?
I just thought about white sands and palm trees and warm ocean.
Okay, lovely. So now you've got your head. What I'd like to say to you is when I said think of the word beach, you didn't actually think B-E-A-C-H and see the word. You saw a picture.
Right.
But now taking that picture, what does that picture say to you? Could it say holiday or relaxation or something else? So the picture is the first thing that, we tend to, most people, not everyone, but most people think in pictures. So when we give someone a word, they see a picture. But now that picture is a little bit ambiguous. Now, if we move that word beach and stick it underneath the picture that you've got in your head, it's no longer ambiguous. You know exactly what the picture means. You know exactly what the word means.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing with the goal mapping. So when we draw a picture or find a picture and put an affirmation underneath it, it takes away all the ambiguity of what our goal is.
Stephen, it reminds me a little bit vision board and mind movies. So we can have some statements and images or videos. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's how our mind works.
Yeah.
And do you help mind mapping? Do you work with some corporate clients, or how people can find you, Stephen? How they can communicate or do something together with you?
Okay, so the easiest place to find me is probably on LinkedIn. It's where I'm the most active, and literally I am unique. I'm the only Stephen Karbaron in the world, and certainly the only Stephen Karbaron on LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to copy that down, what I will do as well is I'll share with you my link for goal mapping, and then you can post this to your followers. We can do that so that they can go straight to the goal mapping site and find me on there, so they could always use me as a coach and request that I can coach them. That's not a problem at all. But they can actually, you can use the goal mapping site, you can do your own goal maps for free. Obviously, I always advise people it's great to have a coach, because when you have a coach showing you how to do something, you tend to do it better. But there's a lot of videos on the site, so there's no reason that you have to pay any money at all. You can just do this whole thing for free, and it's a gift that we give to people so that they can use it and get the power of it. And yeah, so easy to find me and easy to find the goal mapping. I'll give you the link that makes it, will take people straight through to it.
Stephen, thank you very much for showing us very nice technique and instrument to work with our goals and visions to move faster and easier to our results. That's amazing, because a lot of people use logical method for goal setting. Now you show that we can mix it. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's the creation, the need for repetition. A picture's worth 1,000 words. So therefore, when we have the picture, it takes out the need for the repetition. But it's still, we still recommend when you do the goal map, you print it out, you look at it for 30 days minimum, like every morning or every evening, and just go through the affirmations, looking at the pictures, speaking them out loud. This way it resonates and builds a really strong pathway, neural pathways in the brain that start to create these thoughts and habits that make it become a belief.
Steven, thank you very much for your time again, for your inspiration. And I think a lot of people would love to talk with you more, dear friends. If you have any questions, Steven is very open-minded, open person, very, very nice one, great expert. So Steven, I'm going to press the stop button recording this video and we're going to talk a little bit more. So thank you.